You are 21 now. You are 2 years into an interesting friendship with a girl whose reason for being your friend is because you are one of her boyfriend's university friends. You will not immediately understand that dynamic because right now you're feeling this need to just surrender to the friendship. It is a lesson you will learn many times. Today, you think you ought to surrender to everything. Your entire social and religious training up until this point has been that you ought to fight yourself, self-edit, and surrender to things you don't want because you know maybe they'll be amazing somewhere. You'll end this particular friendship at the 10-year mark. You'll end 2 more friendships right around that mark now that you're on it. Each started at different points in your life, but each operated on the same principle. You ignored times you were being mistreated because you felt the need to give the benefit of the doubt, therefore ignoring your own feelings and intuition. It will take you a long time to feel like you trust yourself socially, not because you have ever thought of yourself as untrustworthy, but because you were raised to think trusting yourself is wrong. It goes against God and against African cultural ideas of women's agreeableness. It is an evil thing you have been taught, but I'm writing all these to you so you know. You unlearned. I'm grateful that you had many chances to learn the things you did, because we're currently in this world where everything is built on a model of examinable lessons and performance pressure is at an all-time high. Recently, I was watching the Instagram stories of a woman who was talking about her frustration with herself and how long she has taken to learn lessons X and Y about her romantic choices, and I thought to myself, what a pity. Rushing yourself through your own education for no reason outside of, I should have known this by now, god dang. As if there's anyone coming to check when you should have learned a thing by. I understood it though. Our current culture is still heavily fixated on perfection that is quite frankly impossible and unnatural. There is no way to achieve it as a natural thing because, well, you're a natural thing. Nature is cyclic. The idea that you'll repeat a lesson many times until you learn it is very, I don't want to be a slow learner, coded. It ignores that life happens in cycles, that the situations will present themselves again in different clothing, not as a personal test to you. I detest the idea that we're being tested through life while at it, but I'll get to that when I do, if I do. But as a statement of the cycles of life, there's seasons, and they look alike, and they have a schedule. There are times to kill and times to heal. There are times to plant and times to tend to what you've planted and times to harvest. There are times to let the land lay fallow and times to allow regeneration in silence, or aggressively, or not at all. You can read Ecclesiastes after this letter. I know you'll enjoy it. So you learned to pay attention to yourself over several friendships and relationships. There is no shame or blame in that. Take your time, baby girl. I'm here for you through every timeline, space, dimension, expression, and imagination you choose to express yourself in and as. The first one, like we said, happened because she was doing that thing of trying to make her boyfriend's friends her friends. He made her insecure and made a production of how many beautiful girls he had around him and just how amazing we were. 3 years after they broke up, she would call you in the same week your mother got diagnosed with cancer to tell you that he'd gotten engaged. You would realize that it disgusted you then. All of it. The torch she held for him, the way she still scented him and other men, the way your friendship began, and the things within it that you went along with. You would be disgusted with how little room there was for you to be a human being in that friendship, how you were always expected to be on, performing, comforting, listening, caring for, tending to. You had felt it the first time at 19 when she said something to you about being kindred spirits that left you with a clawing, clingy, yucky feeling. A big nope inside. At the time, you told yourself to try and be friendly because, well, the environment of your upbringing that you were still actively within was telling you to, quote-unquote, understand people and, quote-unquote, just give people a chance. You're not the chance-giving kind. You know that now. If it's not an absolutely yes from the beginning, it will never be, and you feel no need to waste your own time trying to arm twist some petty friendship out of yourself. You've always been selective about your kind of people. Recently, I read a quote about how peace changes your taste in people. I feel like for you, for us, what it did was refine and reaffirm our taste. I have truly elegant people around me as friends now. At 21, though, you don't know all this. What you know is that you're just trying hard to be the person you've been told you're supposed to be. It is exhausting you, but you're young. You still have strength. And you're young. You still don't know that you don't need to do a darn thing but be yourself. And you're young. You don't know that being yourself is not a crime. Right now, everything in your environment is about personal improvement. The environment won't change. There'll be a new microfad every quarter and a new larger fad every 2 or so years and a grand fad every decade. Women will want to be thick, then skinny, then thick again, then skinny. They'll want to be clean girls and then hate minimalism and want to have husbands, then dissenter men and call it embarrassing to have a boyfriend. And then there'll be religion denouncing spirituals right before they become traditional Catholics, and on and on. You'll try to keep up for a few years, not the physical fitness trends for certain, but some of the other ideological ones. You'll still retain a strong sense of self. I'm proud of you for that, and will analyze these things in ways that will be attempts to make them yours, and that is fine. You're walking here, walking towards me. I'm holding my arms out, proudly watching you take every step. Each depth of yourself you access will hug you in affirmation. At first, you won't understand those hugs because you're coming from a faith that calls you inherently sinful and a society that is filled with pastors and motivational speakers and all kinds of information overload about all the directions you're supposed to be growing in at the same time. But there is no hurry in even recognizing what your own love for yourself looks like. There will be a day, and you will be anxiously questioning your decision to move 800 kilometers from home. And there will be another day where you will spend the entire day staring at the water from your beachfront home's veranda, and you will get it. You'll understand just how much love and self-respect is okay in that moment. Then you'll wake up and do it again and again. And at some point you will realize, oh, you do trust your decision making where your life is concerned, because look what you've built. Look at how gently and kindly your own life treats you, my love. Like I said, you're 21. Life is biblically anxious right now. You think you're behind in life. It will be a while before you shake that feeling, to be honest. I wouldn't change that you felt it. I think it helped you learn to reject performance pressure early. You soon enough came to the conclusion that you weren't going to do more and just dropped that. You'll give people chances, like the girlie who is trying to get closer to her boyfriend's friends because they're staunch Christians and so on and so forth. You were told how you needed to have the quote-unquote right friends, and what that means in the circles you're in right now is people who are saved, believe in purity culture, have a youth pastor they go to for their little problems in life, who they refer to as a mentor, and so on and so forth. She ticks all those boxes, so you think to yourself that surely you just can't let that sinful pride you've always had win and write yet another person off. Like I said, you'll do this again and again. In this same 21, a lady will reach out to you because her husband is cheating on her. You'll be kind to her and even meet with her. It'll be a beautiful friendship for the most part. But you know, peace will refine your taste, and you will walk away from that emotionally when she makes several comments that reveal your outlook on life is vastly different. By the time she neglects you emotionally around when your grandmother dies and stands you up for a girl's date you had planned 2 weeks prior, you'll be at peace with the death of that friendship. By this time, you have learned to let things die without being bothered by the rot. Decay comes after death. It has a smell that wafts up every so often, and while it sometimes disgusts you, many times it reminds you there was life. 2 years from now, at 23, you'll meet another person in friend number one's car, and you'll immediately feel a huge rejecting knot form in your stomach when she chips in a conversation from the back seat. Yes, that woman has terrible taste in people, and well, that's not a statement about you seeing, as she mostly collected you like an infinity stone. You'll have a couple of moments of wondering internally, who the fuck are these? You will ignore that knot for a decade, but one of the things I admire about you is that eventually you quietly just go back home into yourself. She'll teach you that when women are jealous of you, they attempt to be close to you in order to have the proximity needed to hate on you impactfully. She'll be the one whose conduct helps you understand the others well, because while she's not entirely connected to them, you'll see why so many of your interactions look the way they do through her. You will understand your relationship with nearly all the older girls and women around you in childhood too, a whole lot better through this friendship, eventually coming to the conclusion that while they are lovely people, they are not your kind of people, and there is nothing wrong with keeping a respectful distance between you. I cannot say that we dislike them all right now, because we don't. What we feel is acceptance. I know who they are and who they aren't, and I have accepted that how those things combine into their own unique makeup, forming them as people are formed, don't quite work for closeness with me. They've got their own definitions of life that I don't share. For example, we define love, kindness, and peace differently, so I keep things civil, cordial, but generally shallow. You, at 21, are really proud of me for this. Oh my, you're beaming, looking at me like, yes girl, yes, distance yourself for me. You'll Get to this kind of zen because this last friend will mirror your mother in one or two ways. She'll remind you of her, how she responds to things you tell her, like the time you told her you were going to check out a new swimming pool in your neighborhood, and her first comment was, "You know how many people have died in that pool?" A thing your mother would absolutely say. But she'll show you that while your mother is generally the kind to worry about you, this former friend is generally the kind to dampen your excitement. There will be other things you'll take a long time to understand, because even as I write you this letter, I still feel a little inexperienced in the area of friendships. Today, I'm okay with it and aren't even trying to be friends with people. I like solitude a whole lot anyway, and even within my friendships, I have to have long stretches of silence and time to myself. I'm a woman whose favorite person is herself, and I'm the person whose company I long for most. I truly cannot have enough of myself, and every time I am involved in sharing myself with another, in whatever capacity, I can feel myself patiently waiting for me to head home into myself. People don't fill my cup, no matter how wonderful they are, no matter how authentic and refreshing their personality. Each of them has a time limit here. Most people, it's 3 or so minutes. Some people, I can take 20 minutes off. 1 or 2 good friends, I can take an entire day off. But that's about it. A day. If I have to spend a weekend with anyone, I will need 2 weeks of mostly silence to recover from that internally. People are tiresome for me. But we were at the part where we were talking about the stuff that will take you a long time to understand, such as how controlling and abusive women move, how they're always trying to make your world smaller by sucking your excitement out of things or judging you for your choices that are perfectly normal and healthy choices, how jealous women talk to you, like the time she suddenly stopped being a beach-loving person because you moved to the ocean, or how when she finally came to your house, she immediately said how she had always thought you said you lived beachfront for Instagram, not as a real thing happening in your life. Or she'd want to copy every last thing you did, up to business ideas, clothing choices, nail shapes and colors, and so on. Talking about how she doesn't mind wearing the same thing as a friend, but would somehow always, or somehow also always, have incredibly rude and bitchy things to say about fashion trends that would sweep through the people's hearts. Suddenly, she only ever wanted unique things and hated seeing something she had on or owned being adorned by another. You understand how energy moves and works slowly at first, but eventually it'll become plain as day. You'll see just how many people intuitively recognize your gifts and your way of being an inherent blessing and want to latch onto you and know how to handle that appropriately. And you'll see how so many of the things people argued with you about were because they wanted to keep you open, to keep their access to you unchecked, because your presence was a gift and an accelerator towards prosperity they couldn't afford to lose. You will learn that you're a beautiful baby girl. At 21, you know it in the way a person knows a historical fact of events that happened long ago in distant lands, which is to say, you currently know you are beautiful, but just how beautiful will take you a long time to understand. It will be some walking before you recognize that the snide remarks and belittling things people say to you are because you are beautiful. It will be a little more walking before you realize that the way people require your attention, even when you mostly just want to be let alone, especially when you just want to be let alone, is because you are threateningly beautiful. Your kind of beauty and how you carry it and carry yourself in it are polarizing. People have to make an immediate decision about you. You're almost there on feeling no need to interrupt their process. Right now, you are struggling with what to do with how they make their internal processing of your beauty and poise your problem. Rather than do so in their inside voice, people tend to feel the need to externalize their feeling inadequate onto you. You are labeled the pretty but self-absorbed or proud girl. You know, the pretty bitch, because you don't feel the need to avail yourself to people just because they asked. Or the weird one, because you have a way of seeing life that is unconventional and a self-esteem that immediately makes a fool of anyone with unnecessary drama, and so on and so forth. Right now, you feel confused. You want to find ways to show people that you're actually a really lovely person. I'll have you know that in the end, you will double down on the nonchalance, choosing only to reveal yourself to a select few. You will watch people fawn over you, trip over themselves, be frustrated that you aren't joining them, crush out to try and get you to pay them some attention, and eventually leave all on their own, over and over. You will at some point begin to enjoy it, and while you might feel a little guilty, I am having a grand time. There is a specific pleasure that comes from watching the human spirit unravel and try to save some dignity and collect itself at your feet, and all you had to do was be yourself and watch. It will be friends who try to tell you about how they too have a big bum or a shapely figure, because you are shaped like the inspiration pictures at a plastic surgeon's office naturally. It will be others who try to brag using your name, talking about how you are such great friends, when in real sense, they can hardly hide their envy of you. It will be girls who send you long voice notes about how you are supposedly this, that, and the other, because you just didn't play along their desire to want to subdue you somewhat. They'll say they are sensitive to smells because you have an enviable perfume collection while they have none, and ask you what it is you give these men because they tried getting the same treatment out of them that you do and just couldn't. You will watch and you will laugh because, truth be told, you don't care. You don't care at 21, and you'll be proud to know no older version of you has cared. You will rest in your intelligence. You know you are smart now, and you have suspicions about how much, but as you grow into yourself, you will be more and more comfortable resting in the fact that you are one sharp woman. Years later, your mother will say of you that while a person can struggle to hear what you have said to them, while they try to fight you on what you are saying, ultimately, they know deep within them that you are telling the truth. You have an ability to see something to its full depth in a split second. In another second, you have often mapped out its entire pattern of operation. You and I both know that when people say they want to feel seen and heard, what they mean is they want the facades they present to you to suffice in your view of them. There are levels to themselves they do not wish to be seen because they haven't accepted them as acceptable ways to be, let alone ways to be in public. But you hear the thing that is being said and the thing the person hopes you never hear all at once. Like the time a man was impressed to near surprise about how calm and patient your father is, and how he teaches you that told you his own father was negligent and violent, and that until that moment it had not occurred to him that you expected anything more than negligence out of him. He was proud to not be violent, and there you were, introducing a patient teacher as a fatherhood concept. You can tell a lot about a person by what impresses them. Many times that "wow" is saying "how dare you," and that "must be nice" is saying "who do you think you are?" I'm happy to report that you haven't lost the art of telling the difference between what is genuine and what is self-management, because what they really want to say just won't fly with you. I'm happy to report, too, that you have remained the kind of person people know to manage themselves around, because you simply won't avail yourself beneath a certain threshold of basic decency. In your interactions, you're strict. It looks good on you. Peace will change your taste in men. I'm the only one allowed to remind you this many times, because you can hear just how much love and care there is in my saying it. You are 21. You currently just don't know who or what a good man is. You have some rudimentary ideas, but they are heavily crowded out by the evangelical Christian, purity culture laden upbringing you had. You don't know that you're allowed to not want a Christian man. Not just yet. You're still trying to remain confined to the options you were told are available for you, and only those options. Today, you can see the high level of respect your parents had for you by introducing you to environments they thought were the best kind. They were themselves within the evangelical and Pentecostal movements, so there were many things taught they just didn't and still do not have the eyes and ears to see and hear for what they truly are. It is part of growing up to recognize that you have to know more than your parents if your children are to survive. Previous generations of Africans didn't always have the maturity to accept that about their young, but nothing like the age of democratized information to force a fact of life into public consciousness. As you grow into your bones, as your flesh fills out your skin, you will know that what you want for yourself is a quiet and dependable man. You don't enjoy fanfare in men. You like them quiet in their own minds, people who can say a lot without moving more than their eyes. You like to meditate with your lovers and see them for what they are. You like it when men are at peace with their being seen for what they are. And you like it when they are out of your space and hair for the most part. You don't enjoy listening to endless chatter. It will feel like lifetimes before this one finally clicks into place for you. But when it does, oh my darling, when it does, you love kindness in a man, and you don't take anything less. You enjoy when he is wealthy and have too difficult a time with broke men to bother beyond a certain time. You have a non-negotiable rule on devotion. The only kind of men you entertain are the kind who demonstrate devotion to you and full worship of you. You are the kind of woman whose entire world is built on serenity, and you like what you like. Your sexy needs stability, and your inner fire likes to burn in a privacy and tenderness that can only happen when a person is intentional about being careful with you. You aren't fragile, and you don't wish to be treated like you're fragile. Fragile is for women who refuse to grow up and have to rely on either childlikeness or volatility in order to keep the people around them caring. What you are is regal. The only function a man can successfully maintain in your life is to enhance your kingdom and make your running it easier. I love you. You know I do. I know you love me even more. Thank you. This is Shiilosophia, the podcast, and you have been listening to me, Memsahib, Amaunette. See you the next time I feel like saying something.